Hi everyone, I'm Sam Delaney. I'm the Principal Smart Contract Engineer at Ikigai Technologies. I'm here to submit the final closeout video for a joint project between Ikigai and MLabs, the Hydra app SDK and auction service. We entered the Products and Integrations Challenge category because Hydra was focused on developing a core commercial use case, auctions. We suggested upgrading the reference implementation that we developed in collaboration with IOG's Hydra core dev team, and that was what we did. In total, we produced an updated on-chain protocol, a suite of off-chain contracts to construct transactions for that protocol, a suite of off-chain tooling for interacting with the Hydra node and building your own tooling, an example front-end repository, and we hosted services that allow you to test out all of this. We received 1,302,857 ADA to do so. Once the project went live, the Ikigai and MLabs team worked together, and progress was mostly straightforward. We did encounter issues around discoverability and learned that there was a need for some auxiliary tools, so we produced better ways for participants of all kinds to find each other. From the outset, we had established milestones for research and basic UI, integration and further UI, analytics and further integration, testing and tooling, an SDK, and launch. However, we quickly realized that due to several happy path assumptions in the original design, we needed to address some technical debt. We submitted a change request, which was accepted and addressed these issues by announcing auctions in an unparameterized address for auction discoverability, adding resiliency to the transfer between L1 and L2, defining an on-chain protocol for delegate discoverability, and updating dependencies. We were then able to achieve all milestones. For developers to make use of this work, there are 3 core repositories they should be aware of. The Hydra Auction on-chain repository has all of our on-chain contracts written in Plutarch. The off-chain repository has all of the off-chain contracts, as well as the SDK and tooling around Hydra nodes that we built. Finally, there's the Hydra Auction front-end, which shows how to use all of it in a user-facing application. In order to actually deploy this app, there's 2 core tasks here. The first one is setting up a cluster of delegate servers so that your users will have a Hydra node somewhere to interact with. Instructions on how to do that can be found in Hydra Auction Offchain docs delegate cluster. There's also deploying the Hydra Auction front end. In order to do that, you have to come in and adjust these settings in your fork of the repository to deploy to GitHub pages. Once you've done that, you should have a site that looks something like that. There's 3 core things that you can do with the site. You can create auctions with the Create tab. You can explore the auctions that are already existing, which is what I'm looking at here, and you can see what your users have done with the Analytics tab. Now, this was a very, very rapid walkthrough. We did that because of time limitations for this closeout video. However, if you'd like to see a more in-depth demonstration on how to deploy the app, I created a video for that, and it'll be linked in the milestone notes. In addition, this is all available for you to try out at mlabs-haskell.github.io. Next up for the project, we'd love to implement commit and decommit features, which will allow for a more seamless user experience with no locking of funds and higher assurances for all participants. Then, we'd like to integrate it into the existing dApps that are used by the community. We're already in conversation with a couple. Unfortunately, we might see some delays to this because the project was not funded in Fund10. With that said, we're grateful for the opportunity to work on this cutting-edge technology. It's been an absolute pleasure for me personally to work with the MLabs team as well as the Catalyst team, and I hope to get to do more of that in the future.